Top of the hour on the start of a Friday, the countdown to kickoff is on. Bills, Bengals at home for the first time since Damar Hamlin was hurt. But to get a ticket, you need to act fast.
How many of you take your grocery store for granted? Now think about what would happen if it closed, right? The extraordinary efforts to make sure one supermarket opened back up after the Christmas blizzard.
This is going to be a long march to justice.
The top shooter sentenced to life in prison without parole. The next steps he's facing at the federal level. Coming up, preparations to clear roadways underway. How plow crews are working to keep your family safe this holiday weekend.
The popularity of dry January. It's got one kind of business booming. Coming up, we're going to look at just how popular mocktails have gotten and what some bars can't keep on the shelves.
Plus, are you planning a vacation or planning any time away from work? Turns out many of you are leaving time on the table. So why are you so reluctant to take time off from work? 6 more weeks of winter. Are your days blending together yet? You're not alone. We're learning more about a trend that could leave you feeling like you're living the same day over and over again, and how to make it stop.
Plus, we've got some good news from the Niagara County SPCA. Their little ball of terror, as he was described, who went viral, found a new home. We'll tell you more about it coming up on Good Morning Buffalo.
Just ahead, Friday night date plans made simple. We've got you covered with an affordable option.
Right now to keep on, keeping my imagination as big as it can be.
Then one Black Rock neighbor is taking his dream to Hollywood. How the young singer is honoring his hometown this week on American Idol.
We're learning just how many people are expected to put some big money on the big game, and why some gamblers say it makes the event more fun.
With temperatures dropping, we're looking at ways to keep your family safe on the road this weekend, while you've got to pay attention to your car battery.
Plus, I'm helping you make ends meet when it comes to selecting an internet provider. I'll introduce you to the new company that's making moves on the scene. Helping a family recover, how Western New Yorkers are showing that Buffalo strong spirit in Niagara County.
When you have a traumatic situation, like near-death situation, then you realize the significance of why you are here as an artist.
Reimagining the painting process. I'm going to show you one artist's journey as he follows his passion against all odds.
Considering new learning methods, why some teachers say it's time to switch the way your kids are graded.
Those freezing temperatures taking a toll on Western New Yorkers' bodies and homes. We'll talk about frostbite signs you've got to look out for, and also where you can go get warm if your power goes out.
Plus, bail reform back in the spotlight, what the governor hopes to change as a new wave of crime targets people already struggling to make ends meet.
Then some local college students packing their bags for Arizona this morning. A special opportunity sending 9 Niagara students to the Super Bowl. Plus, we take a look at education enrollment in Western New York, why school leaders say they're seeing fewer students in the halls. We celebrate Black History Month by highlighting a local Black-owned business, helping you start your morning off with a smile.
Streaming live to start your day, this is Good Morning Buffalo.
An emotional week for neighbors in East Buffalo now coming to a head. This morning, the man behind that racially motivated attack at the Tops on Jefferson will be sentenced on state charges, part of the fate he'll be faced with moving forward. And at 5 o'clock on your Wednesday morning, we say good morning to you. Ed is live this morning outside the Erie County Courthouse downtown. Ed, this sentencing set to happen at 9:30 this morning, and we'll be following this throughout the day. Let's tell everyone what's happening today.
Hi, Katie. Good morning to you. Yeah, for many families, this is just another formality, another step in the search for justice. And sure, this is justice, but nothing will bring back the 10 people who were shot and killed in this racist attack on May 14th. I want to show you the 10 people and their pictures and their names, because it's so important that we remember the 10 people and the 3 others who were hurt but survived when 19-year-old Peyton Gendron came to Buffalo, our home, with nothing in mind but violence. Gendron, who's pleaded guilty to the shooting, will be handed a life sentence today without the possibility of parole when he faces a judge this morning, as you mentioned, Katie, at 9:30. I've learned up to 17 people are expected to speak in court, some addressing him directly. We know this morning Michelle Spite will be in the courtroom. She'll be speaking on behalf of Margus Morrison and Pearl Young. she's one of those family members who's speaking for two families, because on one hand, Michelle Spite is Margus Morrison's cousin, and Pearl Young was her aunt. I also spoke with Garnell Whitfield, who is the former Buffalo Fire Commissioner. He was really emotional when I spoke with him about what happened here and what to expect today. He lost his mother, 86-year-old Ruth Whitfield. He tells me he's not committed to speaking in court today, but he will in fact be there to be a presence for both his mother and his father.
He lost his voice too.
But he's got you as a son, Garnell, and
that's where I'm going tomorrow. We don't get to sit here and be comfortable. We don't get to sit here and pretend like everything is okay. We have a duty to speak truth to power. We have a duty to shine light on these things and to demand, not beg and not ask, but to demand change.
Garnell's father has been in a nursing home for many years. His mother actually went there every single day to visit him and advocate on his behalf. And now Garnell is advocating for both of them. He's been doing so in the 9 months since the shooting, visiting the Capitol, and this weekend he's taking another trip to Albany to speak with policymakers about what can be done to put an end to tragedies like this one. And as I mentioned, today is really just the first step in figuring out what happens to this shooter, this 19-year-old white supremacist. Yes, he's being sentenced on state charges, but tomorrow he's expected in federal court. He faces more than 24 federal hate crime charges, and those carry the possibility of the death penalty. That's on the federal level, but in New York State, the death penalty has been ruled unconstitutional. It would take a full federal jury to decide if the death penalty is warranted here. Experts say this won't be a quick trial.
Right, there's a weighing process that the jury is instructed they have to engage in, which is to weigh the aggravating factors that were proven at trial against the mitigating factors in the client's life. And those are the factors that would inspire some measure of mercy or compassion towards the defendant. Or anything real.
That's William Easton. He was the attorney for one of the last death penalty sentences in New York State back in the 1990s, but no execution has actually happened here since 1963. So, Katie, as we look forward, it's really important that we remember the root cause of what happened here on May 14th, and that is white supremacy. It's racism. And we have to remember the 10 people who were shot and killed at Tops on Jefferson Avenue. And that's what we're going to be doing throughout the next couple of hours and throughout the day today as we head inside the Erie County Courthouse to the State Supreme Court room, where Judge Susan Egan will sentence that shooter to life in prison without the possibility of parole. But what should happen? How should we memorialize those 10 people? I'm going to talk with Garnell about that coming up in just a little while, Katie.
All right, Ed, yeah, we remember those people. We think of their families today, and we'll be hearing from some of them later. Now, Ed, as he mentioned, will be at the courthouse all day following the sentencing. I'm going to be here for you starting at 9 a.m. We will have live coverage of all of those court proceedings. You can watch them right here on 7 ABC as well as online and our streaming app, and we'll be checking back in with Ed throughout the morning.
An important grocery store in Buffalo's Broadway Fillmore district is back open despite hundreds of thousands of dollars in damage from looting in last month's blizzard. The store had to close for a month. It reopened this week, but Aldi says there was about $400,000 worth of damage from lost product, broken windows, employee wages, and insurance claims. Lawmakers able to convince the company to jump on repairs, explaining how important that store is to the neighborhood and the East Buffalo community.
A lot of folks that come to Aldi's are walkers, and they can tell by how much folks are buying. These folks are not buying by the cartload. They're buying really by, the handfuls, and they're walking to and from their homes.
I do that all the time myself. I just walked all the way from Bailey to come here.
Shoppers telling 7 News they really missed the store, but noted it's not fully stocked and has a lot of empty shelves. It's probably going to be some time before they can stock back up. Aldi's saying they're incredibly proud of their team for working together to quickly reopen this store.
Yeah, such an important store for sure.
The countdown to kickoff is on. It's a much anticipated emotional rematch between the Bills and the Bengals.
Sunday's game marks 20 days since DeMar Hamlin's injury, but Bills players are working to move forward to advance to the AFC Championship game. Now, to say this will be a heavyweight matchup is an understatement. The Bills finished the season winning 7 straight, the Bengals 8. Experts say the Bills are the favorites here to win, but the team knows they've got to be on their A game come Sunday.
being smart, decision-wise, trying to find the open guy, getting the run game involved, and like I said, just trying to be a balanced offense against this team. They're high motor. They got their other DN back, and they're making a lot of plays right now.
And Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow says Bengals fans travel very well. He doesn't expect this week to be any different.
Experts say between Bills Mafia and Bengals fans, Highmark Stadium is going to be packed, and there are still a number of tickets available for a decent price. Right now, you can get a pair of tickets for just about $150 each on StubHub, but don't expect tickets to be available for long. StubHub says the Bills-Bengals game is the best-selling of the 4 divisional matchups, outselling the Jags-Chief game by over 20%. Experts say any remaining tickets will go fast.
People are excited. Our offense is explosive. The DeMar factor where the community has kind of come together, and this game has special meaning for sure. The Bills are a Super Bowl contender. They've got Josh Allen as the quarterback. They feel like every time Josh Allen has the ball in his hands that we can score.
Yeah, and Josh doing a lot of running for us, which is what we like to see. Aside from all of that, there's also history in Bills football in January.
Whether you're watching from Highmark or the comfort of your home, a big topic of conversation surrounding this game, Damar Hamlin.
Hamlin's perseverance has captivated not just Bills and Bengals fans, but football as a whole. James Cataldo live for us this morning, showing us exactly how. Hi, James. Good morning to you.
Hey, guys. Good morning. Yeah, so Bills fans are all over the place, right? And the wind is whipping right now, but it doesn't matter if the wind was even 20 miles per hour faster than this, because Bills fans would still be out here on Sunday cheering on the Bengals. But there's one fan that lives across state lines that's celebrating his Buffalo Bills through this, a rock. Garrett Morawski can walk you through what he did to help one special player.
Garrett Morawski is a 6-year-old that loves 2 things: the Buffalo Bills.
Bills run the East.
And now, painting rocks.
We're blue, coming up.
But not just any rocks.
We are all of this together.
Kindness rocks.
Pretty cool rocks, too. I love that Zubas print. Looked good. James, thank you. The last times the Bills hosted a divisional round playoff game in front of a full-capacity crowd in Orchard Park, it was almost 30 years ago, January 15th, 1994, against the then L.A. Raiders. Our quarterback was Jim Kelly. Tony Masiello was the mayor. The #1 song in the U.S., Hero by Mariah Carey. The top movie, Philadelphia, starring Tom Hanks. A gallon of gas, 99 cents.
Oh. There you go. Well, our sports crew is going to be digging into all aspects of the game, including what the Bills have to do to advance to the AFC Championship. That's coming up on Leading the Charge tonight at 7:30 right here on 7 ABC. Oh, I'm helping your family make ends meet this morning. We all know those high prices at the grocery store have been just sticking around lately. So many of us talking about one item in particular, too. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics shows from November to December, egg prices in the U.S. rose more than 18%. Now, in Canada, egg prices actually dropped 2%. It might make you want to take a trip over the border, but if you do, make sure you're following all the rules. Officials say attempts to smuggle eggs into the U.S. can result in fines of up to $10,000. Now, Border Patrol officials say those larger fines are reserved for illegal commercial shipments, but you could still face fines of up to $300 for even just having a carton of eggs. If you're thinking of buying a chicken to get your own eggs at home, there are some things to think about first. Backyard poultry, of course, can have salmonella. That can get on your clothes, your hands, your shoes. CDC says backyard chicken coops have been connected to more than 1,000 people getting sick with salmonella over the past year. They say if you want to stay safe while you own your chickens, make sure you check out all of the rules and safety precautions on their website.
Those below zero temperatures, we need to be thinking about preventing frostbite anytime we go outside today.
So doctors say it can only take minutes before you're at risk for frostbite at any point below 5 degrees. Frostbite causes your body tissue to freeze, feels like a cold burn. If you're exposed long enough, it can cause permanent damage to your skin. Anyone can get frostbite, but of course, people working outside or the vulnerable. We're talking the elderly, the very young are most at risk here.
Doctors say any part of your body that's exposed is more at risk because less blood gets to these parts. Experts recommend dressing in layers, wearing good footwear, all to protect your fingers and toes. They say if you notice your skin becoming discolored, white, hard, or leathery, get out of the cold and try and warm up. Bottom line, Aaron, how long does it actually take to get frostbite?
15 to 30 minutes in conditions like this, especially across the southern tier where your wind chill values will be around 20 to 25 degrees below zero. If you have to go outside, like you mentioned, dress in layers, try to cover everything because anything exposed could get frostbite within 15 to 30 minutes.
We've got all of this information for you posted on WKBW.com. Wear your gloves, your hats. The city of Buffalo also announcing daytime warning centers for anyone who needs them. Again, this list available for you right now on WKBW.com.
Now, if you're staying inside today, make sure you're being careful how you heat your home. Erie County's Deputy Commissioner of Emergency Services says some people use stoves, even gas grills to try to stay warm inside. That can, of course, increase your risk of carbon monoxide exposure, which we know is a silent killer.
Carbon monoxide poisoning, which is the off-gassing of those ineffective heating materials, is dangerous to the public. So we definitely want people to be cognizant of it, not find alternative means of heating like that, but to identify the proper means to heat your home.
County leaders say check on your neighbors when you can too to make sure that they are okay. The price of eggs finally starting to come down. According to USDA data, wholesale egg prices dropped 58 cents around the nation. Food economists say we can expect some relief at the supermarket soon, but the days of paying $2 for a dozen eggs are not returning anytime soon because inflation is still driving up the cost of feed, transportation, and labor. So right now in New York, the wholesale price for a carton of a dozen eggs sits at about $3.13. It is down 23 cents from the start of the year, but the price we all pay at the grocery store still a little bit higher. The average retail price is $3.99. And just to give you an idea of how much things have changed in just the last 9 months, take a look at this graph. These are the prices that I tracked on a dozen eggs last May. We did it for about 10 weeks or so. The cheapest eggs then were $2.46 at Walmart. The most expensive were $3.29 at Tops. And now we know eggs, no matter where you're shopping right now, more expensive than that. Those are the prices back in May. We have our eye on education this morning. An education watchdog group is calling on New York State to take a closer look at student enrollment statewide. There's a new report from New York Education Trust, and it found the state led the nation in enrollment loss between 2019 and 2020, and then 2021 and 22. It shows 88% of the state's districts experienced enrollment loss, and the Education Trust New York executive director says elementary school enrollment in both traditional public and private schools decreased over the last 5 years, but homeschooling and charter school enrollment have increased.
However, the shifts from one school type to another is a bit of a new phenomenon. And so what we know is over the pandemic, many of the students who were in traditional public schools or private schools, those families have chosen something different.
Well, new numbers also show just how much COVID-19 impacted student learning. The Education Department says half of U.S. students began this year a full grade level behind in at least one subject because of the pandemic. And here at home, local education advocates say 3/4 of Buffalo students are not reading at grade level. When it comes to math scores across the state, reports show 4th grade math performance has dropped 10 points from 2019 for 8th graders. It's dropped 7. And another problem we're seeing on the education front this morning, some students turning to artificial intelligence as a shortcut for schoolwork. ChatGPT, it's one of those AI programs generating a lot of buzz in classrooms. It can write papers, generate code, it can even rap. It's something students have taken notice of. 89% say they've used this program when they're doing their homework. And it has left a lot of local educators scrambling to redesign assignments to throw off these programs and make sure students are staying honest.
This for us falls under what's called falsifying academic materials, in that you're presenting work as if you did it, but you didn't. And so we approach that like we approach any other threat to academic honesty and just put it through our procedures.
Well, meantime, some educators are leaning into AI as the future of writing as we know it, incorporating ChatGPT in their lesson plans, teaching students how to use it the right way. Niagara University, Buff State, UB, all allowing professors to set the limits as to when AI programs can be used and when they can't.
If you're heading out on the roads over the next few days, you should make sure your car is prepared.
Those extremely cold temperatures can cause batteries to fail. The air outside cools, the oil inside your car thickens. That makes it harder for your engine to start. AAA says if you have a garage, park your car in it. Company also says turn your car on or drive it so the battery can keep a charge. So here are some signs to look out for ahead of time if your car doesn't turn on like normal, or let's say you hear a grinding, clicking, or buzzing. Go figure, that could be a problem. If your headlights dim when idling but brighten when you rev the engine, you could have a low battery. And AAA says if your battery is more than 3 years old, your car's more likely to have problems as it gets colder. I'm helping you make ends meet, tracking the gas prices nationwide and also here in Western New York. The national average for a gallon of gas is down 4 cents since last week. It's sitting at $3.47. It's also around the same price we saw this time last year. The cost of gas is at $3.44, down a cent from last week. It's also the first time in months we're paying less than the national average here. Still, there's been no reprieve for those who use diesel. It is still $5.34 a gallon in Western New York. And our producers have been looking into where you can find the cheapest gas around Western New York. For regular gas, you can get it for $3.29 a gallon at the Speedway on Niagara Falls Boulevard in Tonawanda. Tops on Southwestern Boulevard in Orchard Park has it for $3.05, and the Exxon on Hamburg Street in East Aurora has gas for $3.32. For diesel, you can get it for $4.89 right at the Sunoco on Walden Avenue in Cheektowaga.